Hello, River Sharks fans. I'm John Clement, the broadcast director of media relations for your Elmira River Sharks. I'm lucky enough to sit here today with the owner of the Elmira River Sharks, the commissioner of the FPHL, Don Kirnan. Good morning, Don.
Good morning.
It's an interesting day here as we get set for our next home game. It'll be coming up on Saturday after we play Binghamton on Friday. I wanted to give you the chance to tell the fans the history of hockey in Elmira, obviously, and the Federal Prospects Hockey League as it's come here over the last few years.
Yeah, it's interesting. When you look at the plaque that's right outside the merchandise stand, it alludes to the United Hockey League, which was when this building was built. The interesting part of the United Hockey League is the members were Binghamton, Elmira, which would be now Motor City, Port Huron, and Carolina, as well as Utica. So basically, the United Hockey League is really in large part what the Federal Prospects Hockey League is the same cities. There's a huge difference between an AHL situation and where the United League was, and both on where the players go and how many players end up in the NHL. It's about a $4,000 to $5,000 difference per day, $365 days a year in the expense. So all these cities that I mentioned obviously can't, afford a AHL franchise because of the prohibitive cost. And any leagues that are below the AHL, it's basically for players that want to continue, to play hockey. They're not getting paid an awful lot of money. That's why we've been able to expand over the years. We started with 6 teams, and we're at 11 right now with some future growth. So it's been basically been really surprised with how wide we've gone and where we're going as a league. So it's things are on the upswing.
You talk about expansion. Obviously, Elmira came into the league in 2018-19. Obviously, the next year, Danbury came back to the league, a team that's been in a couple times and was part of that old UHL during the time of the Danbury Trashers back in the Netflix documentary, if you've had a chance to watch that. When you're looking forward to now, obviously, the last couple of years we've seen Baton Rouge, Mississippi, Columbus, Georgia came in 1920. As you continue to look and expand, are there any new teams on the horizon this coming year, next year? What's the outlook for the Fed going forward?
We have several new inquiries. We expect to see 1 or 2 new teams next year. We have some inquiries in Texas. We have some inquiries in New Jersey and Virginia. So I think it's, originally we basically started with a New York State League, which was similar to the old junior league that I had, which was called the Empire League. We started the Empire League with 5 teams back in the 90s. We merged with the USPHL about 8 years ago. But when we merged, we had 32 teams from Maine to Florida. So this league seems to be moving in that direction, where we have 3 teams really on the border of Canada, and we have 2 or 3 teams in the Gulf of Mexico. So that's it's not what you would call it, a short footprint. Basically, it goes from head to toe.
Well, speaking of that, obviously it's been an interesting expansion and team continuing to grow now, looking into Texas. Is that creating kind of that divisional play you were just talking about with the Gulf of Mexico, maybe a Southern League and a Northern League here with the Danbury, the Watertown, the Elmira, and Binghamton?
Yes, I think it's better for the fans. What I noticed from talking to the fans last year, they preferred to see a rivalry, with teams in their own division. And they really didn't care that much for a team from Mississippi to come up and play. They'd rather see a close rival, more, and which I think we're giving them, and it makes more sense, I think, for the fans. And it's maybe a little bit more of a rivalry, and maybe a little bit more aggressive play, but that's what the fans were looking for.
As you talk about building rivalries, obviously part of that is those classic rivalry matchups. When you think back to, even in the 90s and 80s when I started watching hockey, you just think about signature players going up against each other, things like that. So when you get started here in Elmira and you're building the team, the franchise, there's been a lot of kind of player turnover as the team settles in. Why so many players this year?
Well, last year was a very disappointing season for everyone, the fans and the ownership, and basically in any sport, especially and this is no different. Fans want to see a winner. Players want to see a winner, and what happens is players don't want to go to a losing team. So one of the things that we had to do from the beginning is we had to build a winning culture, and we had to be a team that players wanted to go to. And part of that is winning, and the other part of it is as fans. We're competing for players with other teams in our league. You mentioned, this year we have Baton Rouge, which just came back from their opening weekend as commissioner 2 weeks ago, and they're getting 3,000-4,000 fans a game. The building is double the size of this building, so players are looking at where do they want to go and play, and what we're trying to do is create an environment where everybody wants to come to Elmira.
When you talk about that, you talked about building a winning culture. Obviously, in 2017, you took over Watertown. There's a couple banners during your tenure hanging up in the walls down there that the boys have to see every time we head up to play in Watertown. Can you tell me what happened there and what was so successful about that, and why should that obviously make Elmira fans excited when you're taking over here?
Well, we had a very bad situation in Watertown, so I stepped in, and in 2017 with some of the same people that we brought with us to Elmira, and we were able to win the championship our first year. We obviously had to change a lot of things, and the only way I really know how to get involved is to play for a championship. I'm not interested in competing and having just a good team. Basically, the whole reason for me coming here was to try to win a championship.
And knowing that, obviously something that's never been done, there's no banners down there on the wall for the Elmira teams in their professional hockey history. So how have you been treated by the people of Elmira? How have they reacted to you coming in and taking over?
Well, I've been, all over the country, obviously, and we've had a lot of success around the country, and I've been really all over the world. Just before the virus, I was in Russia, I was in Belarus, I was in Switzerland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Austria, recruiting players and working out partnerships. And the people in Elmira have just been wonderful to work with. I mean, it's been it's not that I'm really not being treated well wherever I go, but it seems to be a real good feeling of the people here, and they're very friendly to me, and it's an enjoyable situation for me.
That's awesome, and I know I've had experience here. The people here have always been great. You fans have always showed up for us, and we ask for you to continue doing that. That being said, it's a bit of a different situation than from when I was here last, when a lot of fans have watched this come through. The cciaa took over and has instituted some management in the building. Have they invested money in the arena? What are they doing to help the team to try to push this forward?
Well, I think some people have a misnomer as far as the league or as far as the investment. They basically redid the boards. They're going to redo the ice plant. They're trying to improve the building, so there is an investment. Obviously, for the county to be involved and having me come in, that's an investment for them. So they're definitely trying to create a long-term situation. They're trying to make the building better. And I believe this building's going to be getting better and better, and I believe it's going to be around for a long time.
And that being said, obviously this past weekend, the fans really, you could hear them everywhere you were in the building. What was that like to have the fan support behind the team, really rooting them on? I mean, obviously the effort was there from the team all game long. Perhaps not the result we wanted, but still got that fan support in the building. How much of a difference does that make to a team chasing a championship?
Well, it means all the difference, because Friday we're going to be traveling to Binghamton. There's going to be, between 3,500 and 4,500 fans there. So, we had about half that. So what we have to do is, we have to have everybody that attended the game Saturday to bring a friend, and that would actually, get us to the point where, we can become a place where people want to. So they all blend together. The county and the work and the extra work that they put in, the fan support. We have a booster club that is second to none. I mean, they're really. I'm really impressed with what they're doing. So everything is working towards a final end. And what we need now is we need more fans so we can lure more players. And we're short a few players right now, I think, in order to win a championship. We're not interested in just, being a good team. What we want to do is win a championship. Basically what happens is we have to make the playoffs. And in any hockey playoff system, you can win the championship if you win one game in the opposing team's building, or if you're fortunate enough to be in first place in your division, just hold your home ice advantage. When we won in 2018, we were not a first place team, but we won one game in the opposing building's barn, and we won the championship. So we have a lot of key players that I think can win a game, on the road, and that's all it takes in order to win the championship.
I want to take it back to your start here in hockey. Obviously, in '85, you founded the Syracuse Stars, now the Syracuse Nationals. Obviously, you had some success up there. Can you tell the people about kind of your development process and what that was like in Syracuse?
Yes, when we took over in Syracuse, there was virtually none of the players were going anywhere. There was pretty much a dead end. It took a number of years, but after a while, we were successful. We ended up with some of the best players in the history of New York State. The players that went through the Syracuse Stars between pro and college deals were way over $100 million in benefits to the players. We had 24 players drafted in the NHL, probably close to 10 or 12 players playing in the NHL. Several players ended up in the AHL, didn't quite make it to the NHL, but they were drafted. So it was a glorious situation. In the girls' situation, I brought the trophies from the 2001-2002 National Championship U19 team that I coached, and we had a 16-year-old girl that basically was on the silver medalist team. She had the her jersey signed by everybody on the team, and that's in the merchandise stand. And unfortunately, after I won the second year, I was running a 32-team junior league and running 4 junior teams at the time, and I didn't have enough hours in the day to keep on operating the girls program. That was a disappointment, because basically after winning 2 national championships in a row, I had to step away, and it was sad for everybody, including myself. And unfortunately, no one from New York State has ever won the U19 prior to when I won it, or since. Wow. So that's the only 2 national championships from New York State from anybody.
Wow. And then when you were there, I know you had always had a mentoring program in Syracuse. How can that kind of help here in Elmira?
Well, what really worked for us was having older players work with younger players. Al Tuck, that plays for the Buffalo Sabres, a lot of people don't realize that he's the next door neighbor of Timmy Conley that played for the Buffalo Sabres. So, Al's father, Carl, worked with our organization. Everybody worked together, and I believe it's important for our players to work with younger players. It helps them, it helps the younger players, and we just because of the late opening, we really haven't had an opportunity to get it started yet. But it's something that I believe in strongly, and it just doesn't help the younger player; it helps the older player also. So that's really important, I believe, in order to create an environment where the players learn a lot quicker from somebody that's just a little bit older than them.
And we see the fluidity with the junior team, the Elmira Impact. Stavros Solis has helped out with some practices. I know Glenn Patterson was behind the bench as an assistant coach for us here on the Saturday night. The junior program, how big is that having, obviously we're heavily involved with the USPHL and know the structure of that. How important is that connection to have the pro team and the junior team working together?
It's everything. Basically, everybody has to work together, from the booster club to the off-ice officials to the county, to everybody working together for a common cause. This is what makes a wonderful success. Like I said, the success that we had in Syracuse is second to none in the state. And we were listed by the Hockey News in the late 90s as one of the top organizations in the United States. All it was everybody working together from the lower levels to the top levels. The ingredients are here. I don't believe that everybody has worked together as well as they should, but we're going to correct that and make sure that everybody's included, and we try to help everybody, and that by helping everybody, it really helps ourselves.
Perfect. And you started the Empire Junior League with 5 teams. What happened with that about 9 years ago now?
Well, we've ended up with more and more teams that expanded, and similar to what's happening with this league, we tried to basically build a better mousetrap, and we created an environment where players were able to move up. And we had a lot of great stories about players that started with us. Of course, many players made it to the NHL from that league. So it's a situation where just by giving kids an opportunity and running things the right way, it just expanded and expanded to the point where I had to quit the girls program because the league was getting too big.
Well, last question before I let you go, I want to talk about, obviously, the way that this league has expanded and really become more of a league that's taken very seriously. Houston Wilson just came back from Reading. He was in an ECHL tryout. A couple of other guys have had that experience as well, starting everything off and starting the season. There's a couple of leagues here at the single A level that have been fighting back and forth, but to see guys going up to the ECHL right from an Elmira locker room, right from a Columbus locker room, what does that mean to the league as it continues to expand and be taken more and more seriously from the people, and how can the fans get involved to help continue that growth?
Well, there's, between our league and the East Coast, and then obviously the Southern Pro is in between, there's between 60 and 90 player movements every season. So it's a continuous revolving door. Most of these players, you probably will not make the NHL, even from the East Coast League or from the Southern Pro League or from our league, but they are moving and they're advancing, as far as their career goes. What we need to do is to continue improving, work on our, player development, and try to create a situation where it does, we never restrict a player from trying to advance, obviously, to the East Coast League. We always did it at the junior level. If somebody had an opportunity to move up, we moved them up. Even if it cost us winning a lot of games, it wasn't about us, it was about the player. And we feel the same way about this. We just purchased neck guards because of the fatality. We're the first team, in the league and probably any league that will have neck guards for our players if they want them. So I just brought those this morning. So it's a situation where everything is for the player, but the player, we need to get players like what you mentioned, the players that come in that basically are really at the higher level to come in and play, and we need to take care of those players. We have a booster club that does. The team will, and we want to. They build upon each other. It's all the same goal. It's all the same situation, and it's important that we're at the top of the list. And last year, we were at the bottom of the list, and the wins that they had, a lot of them were against another last place team, which was basically, we don't have that this year. There is no Delaware this year in the league that people can get wins from. So So it's much more competitive this year. We got to be a lot better in order to compete, in our division, in the Empire Division of our league.
Of course. And fans, you can be a part of that support. Come on out Saturday night. Get your tickets on Ticketmaster app. Call the box office, 607-734-PUCK. Let's fill the arena and make everybody in the FPHL fear the Fin. Thank you so much, Don Kirnan.
Thank you.
We'll be back here live at First Arena.